So, welcome everybody, and this is one of the very first chart chats that we're doing for the Mountain Astrologer and its reboot in 2025. And I'm really, really honored and blessed to be doing this with Suzanne Gerber. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Frank. And I didn't get a chance with our other conversation, but to congratulate you on the first issue of the relaunch of the Mountain Astrologer. It's so fun. It's so deep. And I haven't gotten all the way through it, but I've really been enjoying what I have.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne. And where can people find you?
They can Google me, but my website is starsandstoneshealing.com. And I have a private but oh, basically open Facebook group called Soul Purpose Astrology.
Lovely. Thank you. So, part of our job is to look at a chart that we've been sent, and we hope TMA readers will email us with uh, their charts and a particular big question, which we'll come to in a minute. And you asked me for this to say, uh, what do they really have on their mind at the moment, so we can zoom in and focus on this. Speaking of zooming in, we're immediately zooming in with this chart to four planets plus the midheaven in the sign of Scorpio and Capricorn rising, plus a couple of other very interesting uh, aspects in the chart that really give this chart a very strong focus and strong intent. What was your first impression looking at this chart, Suzanne?
Uh, it was whoa. This is a powerful chart. And I don't know if people will be seeing this juxtaposed with the first chart that we spoke of, Frank, but I found it very interesting that both seem to have a real focus on personal power, career success, success in the world, but very different, almost opposite to each other in a way. Very much struck by, born during a new moon with Mercury on one side, and the other bookend to that is Uranus, which are related, right? Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. How powerful that is in the 11th house. Um, we also note that Venus, which is one of those interesting configurations that you alluded to, I assume, is out of bounds in Sagittarius conjunct Neptune. I happen to have an out of bounds Venus in Sagittarius. Now, of course, we don't all wear it the same, but I do know a little bit about how that plays out. But um, I also, of course, noticed that Mars at 2947 Leo, the anaretic degree, squaring into that Scorpio, creating some tension, some drive, some pressure. Um, it could be stress too. I found her question really, it was a perfect question because it took me in a very different direction than I might have gone in had that not been asked. I don't know if you want to share that now or if you want to.
So Jay writes that Jay's studying astrology at the moment, and it says, "My stellium in Scorpio has given me much food for thought." I feel like it's so intertwined, this energy. Reflecting on the energy of the planets involved often feels like detangling an enormous knot. I've worked in my husband's business for the past 25 years until the point of burnout. And now, after recovering, I'm looking for fulfillment and meaning in my life, and some fun after a stressful career full of responsibilities. Jay has arrived in Santiago recently and walked the Portuguese Camino, which is an intense thing to do, for the last 2 weeks. And this pilgrimage, she says, has brought all of these things to the surface. I'm now curious where I can find the fun, the meaning, the fulfillment in my day-to-day life. Okay. Well, if I may start, I'll say something about the Scorpio. I think it's always looking for an experience beyond what's written on the label. You will feel the following, or this will be the best trip of your life. It's looking for a connection that always goes beyond that. One of the things I've learned over the years is to read conjunctions in the order, in the sequence of their degrees. So the first comes Uranus, then the Moon, then the Sun, then Mercury. And if I were to do a quick play with that, something about Uranus, the wake up, the idea that this is not a dress rehearsal. It may be the wake up of being privy, as Scorpio often is, to secrets or adult themes in their life early on. And then along comes the moon, which might, after Uranus, say, I I can cut off from my feelings, having experienced this or being aware of depths and betrayals and different things in life, or I can nurture it. And then the sun comes along and it says, here's my identity from that. And then Mercury says, let me question, write about it, uh, and experience it, vocalize it, find my voice. So we've got sort of shock, coming to terms with looking after yourself in that feeding way, that becoming an identity, and then perhaps communicating that. So there's a tremendous amount of depth to explore in that. What I feel is that we're meeting the Capricorn ascendant and the Saturn in Virgo, the person that has been supporting the husband's business for many years, working flat out to the point of burnout. Your feelings on that?
The first thing that struck me is this is a double Scorpio tucked inside of a Scorpio stellium at the top of the chart.
Yeah.
This is she's Capricorn rising, and so her ruling planet is Saturn. And then we see Saturn going into the eighth house, along with the North Node. A couple other things. Jupiter, Black Moon Lilith is there. We didn't put that in because I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but it is there, right smack in the middle of the Saturn and the Jupiter. So right away with that strong Scorpio eighth house, I think, of course, things feel like she's untangling a knot. She's always trying to solve mysteries, like you were saying, go deeper, not taking anything at face value. What's really going on here? Try to fool a Scorpio stellium, right? They can smell it. So I think she's talking about the discovery of her own life, of her own reality. Like you say, her ruling planet, that Saturn, goes into the sign of service. It's disposited in the house of shared resources. I think she just feels there is no choice. Of course, this is my husband's business. I'm part of it. This is how we succeed together. And she's going to be a part of it. That Saturn in Virgo is very, going along with Cap rising, very dutiful. Um, and yet, Scorpio on the midheaven, she has her own career path, or let's say, way of showing up publicly. And that's ruled by Mars as the traditional ruler, Pluto, Libra in the ninth. That Mars is at the anaretic degree, full of tension. Let's come on, enough. We've done this. I'm ready to move on to what's next. Squaring that whole Scorpio stellium. She's doing it. There's the duty. There's just the sense of there's no choice almost. And yet that Mars is so feisty. And the Pluto, to me, it's many things. It's about what can be transformational for her. And there actually is a square with Nessus. And I think I said to you, don't bother putting it in, but Nessus is a degree away from a square with it in the house of partnership. And so we just wonder, I would have questions for Jay. How how'd you do it for 25 years? Was it rewarding? What changed, right? And how does her husband feel about this? These are really important questions because if she feels supported, she's more likely to go pursue all that personal self-fulfillment realizations. If there's always tension, she there may be some limitations around it. And it's so important for her, I think, to self-express. You talked about that Uranus kicking off the Scorpio stellium. Well, that's the closest to the midheaven. That has the honor of elevation. That's a planet that's talking about awakening, yes, innovation, sure, but really about liberation. Liberation from this dynamic of feeling obliged to do this work. So to me, it's less about ending the burnout than what were the forces, the psychological, spiritual, karmic forces that led her to do that for so long. We know with that kind of Scorpio and Scorpio on the midheaven and that Mars square, this is tenacious. She's not going to quit. She's not going to walk away. She might have had in her mind, and then with that cap rising, I'll pick a date in the future and working toward it, and then being just as resolute about honoring that date. Um, I think of that, I wanted to get back to that Pluto. I feel like she's talking about that beautiful pilgrimage that she's just gone on the Camino. And I think she said she was continuing it, or what she wants to do is integrate it. That Pluto to me, now I know this is a little bit of a stretch, there's dozens of ways to interpret that. But to me, as the modern ruler of her 10th house, this is her path in life. And this is saying the pilgrimage is inward. She can go on every walk in the world, but it's how she takes the lessons inward. And um, life becomes a pilgrimage. It doesn't have to be some big peak event. They're wonderful. They change our lives. They turn us around. They inspire us. We can't see the world the same after we experience life on that level. But then there's kind of an inevitable letdown. Well, now what? Now I'm just going back to my life. There's no other pilgrims. There's not this huge high, this shared high. And when she asks how to integrate it, first thing I do, well, I look at everything, but I look at her nodal axis and I go, my goodness, she's wired for this. This is, to me, one of the highest expressions of that Virgo Pisces axis. And when the nodes just changed in January, moving into that axis, into that polarity, I think everything just got activated for her. She's just been through her Uranus opposition, and she's really in kind of the last gasps of that Saturn opposition. It'll come within 12 minutes in November, and when it makes its final station. And that's her. So she's being invited to restructure things in a way. And to me, Virgo, as we know very well, and we will say a lot, it's really about usefulness and efficiency and improving things and making little real world, tactile, practical shifts to improve your life and others. But Pisces is about releasing all of that and merging with all and not getting into the ego and the this is better and the judgment and just making everything sacred. And the blending of these energies is the perfect invitation to realize every minute it's kind of like a tantric practice where you say everything is sacred, every action is sacred, everything I do can strengthen and kind of keep alive these experiences that I had, these epiphanies or whatever, however she experienced it. She was a little vague, but this eighth house is really her home. And I think to just give herself permission, give herself time, give herself patience to find what's going to be useful for her. She's good at finding useful. She's very strategic. I think, if anything, the trick is let the universe or whatever that connotes to us, let that move in. You don't have to control everything, right? You can't micromanage it. And hopefully the husband is supportive because that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Mm. Thank you. That's beautiful and very good advice, I think. The We feel that Jay has probably done that Mars Jupiter North Node, particularly the Virgo side of it, in managing the business very well and supporting and playing a Virgo role, probably knowing how to do every single job in the business, etc. What I love as well is this Venus Neptune, and we've heard this with the Camino. We've heard that it's really taken time off to go on a trek, a long walk. How's that for Sagittarius? Forget the short, forget the short walk of Gemini. Sagittarius is all about these long walks, and this feels like the Venus Neptune has. It's been craving it. It's been longing for it. It's found an outlet now,
Mm.
and now it needs to stay there rather than just disappear or into a nostalgic moment in her life, which is what Neptune can do. You can say, oh, wasn't it wonderful when we did this? But for it to come alive, as you say, to be more prominent, as shown by the Virgo Pisces axis as well with the nodes. What I love about the Uranus transit, which you've mentioned, that's been back and forth now for the last few years. First of all, the Uranus opposition, that's saying, wake up and what do they say? At your Uranus opposition, you're finally your parents' age. And there you sort of recognize, oh my gosh, I'm that age. I've got to do something different. I think women handle it better than men sometimes. I think men just like to drive fast cars and put a toupee on their heads and have an experience of a Uranian kind. But I think astrology is often the key, isn't it, to the Uranus half return, the opposition in the early 40s or late 30s. Um, so the fact that it's still got the opposition of Mercury to come right now as we're speaking, but also back and forth for the rest of the year, a little bit of next year, is going to be very interesting because it's saying with Uranus Mercury, think outside of the box. Think of options that you may have felt, Scorpio can become fixated easily. It's the sign of fixations. So it may have felt for a long time, this is the only way out, or this is the only way to work, or this is the only option in my life. And Uranus comes along and says, um, forget that, try something different. So the opposition to Uranus is saying, think of these ideas. There's probably yeah, absolute. This is the reason why we've chosen this chart randomly, because the Uranus to Mercury is think of all the things that you've shared with Jay and that I'm talking about, and rather than just pack them away and get back to that Virgo servitude or Virgo feeling of being on that conveyor belt, to really wake up the energy of that Mercury. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and she's also having her Mars return right now.
I love that. Yes, even though yes, and I hope to send Jay the video uh, in the next day or so to
Yeah,
coincide
within the next 2 hours, so
the
she can
next
act
two
on
hours. Okay.
it.
Oh yes, okay, definitely. And yes, any final words? Anything else that you feel?
Yes.
Yes, love
Well,
to.
and that I know this is a little beyond the scope of what we said we were going to talk about, but I couldn't not look at her secondary progressions, Frank.
Okay.
And the progressed sun is right on her ascendant,
Ah,
the progressed sun illuminating who she is, not as an employee, as an individual, and progressed Uranus is at the sun moon midpoint.
okay.
Her. She is just being, the light is shining on her. It's time to step into it, not with power, not to fight over anything, to know that there's a big tent and everybody gets to have this opportunity for self-realization. She's also being activated by eclipses right now. The March 14th lunar eclipse was 1 degree off of Saturn, her ruling planet, deep diving in her eighth house. This is a culmination of, I would say, unfolding of spiritual practices and things she's developed that she's brought into this lifetime. This is another unfolding, and it's going to continue for the rest of this year into next year. We never really know how long an eclipse will affect any given individual. How open are they to it? Are they working with that energy? And then peeking ahead to next year on March 3rd, on 26, there's a lunar eclipse 2 degrees off of her black moon Lilith, which is right in between the Saturn and the Jupiter.
Okay.
So again, there's more of a, hey, who are you? Is it oh it not only is it okay, what are you going to find when you get there? Are you going to be okay allowing the self-discovery process to unfold? And as if that weren't enough, in August of 26, the lunar eclipse on the 28th, it lands 9 minutes off her south node. This is an opportunity to burn whatever old karma she came in with any kind of indebtedness, servitude. We can still serve people, but not out of obligation, not with resentment. We do it out of sheer joy. We go full circle with this. We don't have to stop being of service. We want to feel like it is our choice and that we bring our own gifts to it, and I think that's what is really starting to emerge for her, this awareness of all of her power, which is massive. I mean, really very powerful person. She could do what she chooses to do. To me, the trick is, how does she hold that power? Does she believe it? Does she feel that she has the right to do this? And I think the rest of it, I know it's a bit of a cop out. I think it's just going to fall in place for her.
Thank you. Thank you. No, that's very helpful. And we know that the Scorpio Capricorn mix can get dark. It can feel like this is, oh, this is tough. This is the way, and being able to venture out, and we're seeing that with the Venus Neptune in Sag being and the Mars in Leo, having a challenge outside of the grind, away from the conveyor belt, I think is uh, a glimpse into the future possibilities that you're referring to with the lunations and also with the Uranus transits as well. So it feels like an exciting time, and we know you and I are recording this in the middle of June, and we know with in the sky we've got that Uranus-Mars square. America is feeling it. I'm watching the news. There's a tremendous, uh, maybe the seeds of a revolution or a sense of standing up in that uh, Taurus Leo way, standing up to money, standing up to power. And this ties into Jay's chart so clearly. Again, interesting that it's been randomly picked today and speaks so strongly of this emerging revolution in Jay's life.
Well,
And
she has Trump's Mars, basically.
okay, yes, yeah, yeah. And and next to Jupiter, next to the nodes, I mean, it's a powerful Mars, isn't it? And
We'll have her come over here, Frank, because we need a powerful leader.
yes, yes,
That's what's missing. We have no leadership.
yes, yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Suzanne. Really appreciate your insights on this. And again, we're going to invite Jay to write something to us so we can put it at the end of this video and give us some feedback, but also perhaps things that it may have triggered, or at least uh, after this fabulous Camino journey as well,
Beautiful.
where she might be thinking of taking this energy as well. So thanks, Suzanne. Great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. This is really fun.